But if I'm going to have to guess, and this is a standalone company in 5 years, WBA is probably anywhere from $75 a share to $125 a share, somewhere in there in 5 years from now. So yeah, WBA, I think it's an easy money stock, and that's why I put 7 figures in the stock.
So I heard old Jeremy Lefufu is an investor in Walgreens. Are we about to roast him? No, but we're going to talk about Walgreens stock and how I'm not a great fan. So Walgreens, if you live in the United States, or if you live in Willy Wonka Land, England, you may go to a Boots, you may go to the Bootsy Wooty. Walgreens is a very large pharmacy chain. There's a Walgreens everywhere. And a lot of people are looking at Walgreens because we've seen that over the past, 20-something years, the stock is up 1,828%. But over the past 5 years, it's dropped 68%. So people are looking at this stock and they're saying, wow, look at that dividend yield. And when stocks go down, you buy the dip and then they go back up. Is Walgreens a good investment? Well, let's go ahead and cover some news. So what is the general gist behind Walgreens? Well, here we have a typical Walgreens, okay? It's a pharmacy. There's one right down the road from where I live. When you go to a Walgreens, they have all sorts of beauty products and, medications, over-the-counter medications. And it's a place where you go to refill your prescriptions. If you're infected with the disease, if you're sick and infected, you go to Walgreens, you get your pills, and you go home. What they're trying to do now is they're trying to add this interesting little thing called Village Medical. They actually did an acquisition of this Village Medical company, which provides primary care. The whole concept is we combine Walgreens, the pharmacy, and place where you can go buy honest diapers, I guess, if they have them there. You go inside Walgreens, you go get your pills, and then you go see your doctor. It's basically an all-in-one shop. That's kind of what they're trying to transition to. That segment, the U.S. healthcare segment, is growing rapidly, but it's a small part of Walgreens' revenues. The vast majority of their revenues still come from domestic, aka U.S. pharmacies. But this is kind of the tail. They're in a period of transition, okay? They're moving into this kind of joint venture where you have a doctor or a couple doctors in right next to the pharmacy. I mean, interesting concept. I don't really have a problem with that. But there's some crazy things going on. Number one, the CEO, Rosalind Brewer. Now, apparently she's black, and apparently that's a big deal because she is, I guess, the only black female CEO, and now she stepped down. But the CEO, Rosalind Brewer, just stepped down. That's right. She just stepped down. This was just announced a couple days ago. On top of that, we have the chief financial officer also stepping down. So we have the CEO leaving. We have the global CFO leaving. We got a bunch of crap going on. Now, Walgreens, interestingly enough, owns shares in this company called AmerisourceBergen. And this is kind of like saving their butt, almost in a way. So I've actually seen this company before. I've heard of this company. But Walgreens has a pretty significant investment in AmerisourceBergen. And what they're doing is they're starting to sell the stocks that they own in this company, and they're using that for, whatever the acquisitions, expansions, whatever. But we can see that while Walgreens is having trouble, the stock is down 68% in the past 5 years. The stock that they bought went up freaking massively. So this is, it's called Sensora, but this is AmerisourceBergen. It's up massively, 107% in the past 5 years. Not bad. Okay, this is a good investment by Walgreens. So Walgreens is using this investment, they're selling it, and they're realizing very big gains on their income statement. Now, this is what is known as an equity method investment. When a company buys shares of another company and has significant influence, but they don't control the company, what we do as accountants is use the equity method of accounting, where you record the underlying company's earnings in your earnings, and when you get a dividend, you reduce the investment account. Check out the pinned comment below and join our Discord community where you can ask me questions directly via text. And if you sign up for the highest tier, you can actually meet me in person every 2 weeks. So check out the pinned comment. Join the Discord community and let's make some money. But what you don't do is mark up the price of the stock. So Walgreens isn't recognizing this increase in the stock price on their income statement. But when they sell the stock and they realize a gain, then they do, as we'll see in a second. Now let's go look at the overview of Walgreens Boots Alliance, okay? Let's see what's going on with the financials from a overview. Revenue, growing slightly, but overall not that impressive. We go down to gross margins. We see gross margin compression if this thing actually pops up. Gross margins are shrinking, okay? Why is that? Probably a bunch of competition. But over time, there's a very clear downward trend. Operating margin is massively shrinking, okay? It's going down just like the gross margin. And the last couple of quarters, they've had negative operating margin. Profit margin going the same way. Free cash flow margin also decreasing. If we go look at their cash flow, operating cash flow decreasing. Capital expenditures increasing. So their operating cash flow is decreasing, but their capital expenditures, at least recently, have increased. They're also making acquisitions. They're buying Village MD. They're making other acquisitions because they want to evolve into the future of healthcare where it's not just a pharmacy where you go buy overpriced products and get your pills, but you also go see the doctor, okay? So that's kind of what's going on with the broad overview of Walgreens. Now, let's look at some of the segment information to see what's really going on. So they have three primary segments. They have U.S. retail pharmacy, they have international, and then they have this new category that they're coming up with, basically the Village MD, U.S. healthcare. For the U.S. retail pharmacy, this is the biggest part of their business, okay? Sales have increased, profits have decreased. We know margins are contracting. Operating income has slightly increased year over year. Equity earnings at AmerisourceBergen. See this right here? AmerisourceBergen, because they own shares of the stock, they have significant influence, but they don't control the company. They recognize the underlying profits of the business inside of their financials, inside of their income statement. But when they sell the stock, that's when they record the gain, okay? But we can see that's going down because they're selling shares, okay? They basically had a good stunk pick, and now they're selling shares to, basically kind of stay afloat. But overall, they have some sales growth, but, the virus is over. You know what virus I'm talking about, right? It's going to be here forever. But they had a huge boost during the pandemic, and now I think that's slowing down, okay? You can see for the 9 months ended May 31st, 2023 versus 2022, their revenue's barely up, okay? We go down and we look at the other segment, international. This is Boots, okay? Now, they own Boots, which is like a British pharmacy, and apparently it's a thing. I've never freaking heard of it because I don't live in England. But they have pharmacies in UK, Ireland, Thailand, Mexico. But Boots is the big daddy, okay? Sales for international are actually looks like they're going up a little bit faster. Gross profit has increased. Selling general and admin expenses have really exploded internationally. And they've actually had a decrease in operating income year over year. So while revenue's growing, it's a smaller portion of their revenue. The vast majority of their revenue is the domestic segment, the actual Walgreens pharmacy. Then we go down and we look at U.S. healthcare. This is the transition. Village MD, CareCentrix. They're transitioning into a new model. That's what they're trying to do. We can see their revenue is growing massively, and it's really encouraging, right? But it's a small part of their revenue. It's a very, very small part of their revenue, number one. It's barely turning a gross profit, and that segment is still unprofitable. And it's actually, I guess the margins have gotten better, but it's still losing money, okay? So overall, you have anemic growth in the United States. You have a little bit better revenue growth, at least internationally, but it's unprofitable. And you have good revenue growth, but a lack of profits in the U.S. healthcare segment. Overall, why would you want to invest in Walgreens? Okay, you got CVS, you got Rite Aid, which they just declared bankruptcy, but whatever. I wonder who's going to buy them up. You got all these places. You can go to Walmart to get prescriptions. You can go to Kroger. Amazon's getting into the prescription space. Walgreens isn't doing too hot. I think the whole brick and mortar pharmacy thing is having trouble. Just like Walgreens, it went bankrupt, okay? Their margins were compressing just like Walgreens. CVS, I haven't looked at them. But this is a very competitive space, okay? I believe Walgreens is the second largest pharmacy vendor in the United States. But that doesn't mean anything when you have a ton of competition and compressing margins. So overall, I don't know why you would buy this stock. I mean, maybe, maybe I should tell you it's going to rip and you're going to make a ton of money, but I don't really see much to like, to be honest. Oh, the U.S. healthcare segment's growing so fast. Yeah, it's a very small part of their revenues and it's still not making money. But whatever, we'll see. Hope you enjoyed the video. Talk to you later. Cheers!